Okay. We're good. Okay. Now, I'm Lawrence Porter, and I will call this meeting of our congregation to order. The first order of business is to establish that we have a quorum. Our bylaws require 10% of the membership of the church to be present at this meeting. Our membership in the church as of last council meeting was 292, and we just welcomed 4 new members today, so our membership is 296. Means we need 30 people here, and I think most people will acknowledge that we have more than 30 people here. I don't have to go and count everybody. So we have a quorum for business. Order of business, if you want to speak during the meeting, there's a mic set up in the middle of the congregation out there, the yellow mic, or there's this mic down here. Okay, so whichever mic you want to use, please go to the mic and say your piece. First on the agenda is we have some proposed bylaw additions, and Cindy Neck will present those, make the motions, etc. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw Larry moving that mic up to the sky there, and I thought, well, that's going to have to come down. Okay, so for this past year, we have had a committee working, our Church Governance Structure Committee, and I want to take this time to thank Sharon Clark, Thaddeus Sampson, Beth Washik, Barbara Kirk, Brenda Eckert, and Roy Blos for their very diligent work on this committee, which has been very busy. It was 10 years ago, in 2011, that we initiated the current church governance structure, which has the teams of 2 deacons and stewards and advisory teams to work with them. And we thought that at the 10-year mark, it was time to take a look and see how that structure has been working for us. And for the most part, we found that it's working well, but it does have some challenges. And so as part of our work this year, we contacted other churches, we did research, talked to other folks, and probably next year we will have some revisions to recommend to you about our governance structure. But we decided for this coming year, particularly because of COVID and we weren't in the building most of the year, that we wanted to stay with the same structure. That being said, we thought it was important that we take a look at the various responsibilities and do some updating because our procedures manual had not been updated in some time either. So as we were going through the manual, looking at the descriptions for each of the steward and deacon teams, we found we wanted to change the descriptions, the short descriptions of what those teams do, as well as the lengthier responsibility list. And we decided that made the most sense to have the bylaws and the manual match. In some cases, we changed the manual. In some cases, we changed the bylaws. And mostly, you can see we did change the bylaws to more accurately reflect what we thought the work of the particular team was. I do want to make one change to the material that was sent out to you in Article 6.05, the deacons for what was external mission and what we are renaming to social justice and mission. The last part of that, well, let me just read the whole thing and I'll tell you where the change is. The deacons for social justice and mission are responsible for reaching out in Christian love to the local and global community by providing opportunities for the congregation to serve and seek justice. Right now it says for the needy, but we had a suggestion from the congregation to change that for all. And council debated that, we talked about that and said, yes, we think that makes sense because we do want to see justice for all. So that is a change to what was sent out to you earlier. Hopefully you're able to follow this. We did it in a structure that has strike-throughs so you can see the part that's being deleted, and then we bolded the new part so that you can see what the additions were. So I will make a motion to approve these changes to the church bylaws. Do I have a second? Thaddeus, thank you. Are there any discussions, any questions? Okay. If not, Mr. President, I'll call for the vote.
All those in favor of the motion to approve the bylaws that are in your packet as modified by Cindy's statement about changing the word needy to all, All those say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And are there any abstentions? Hearing none, the vote's completed. Next on the agenda is discussion and some motions regarding our long-range plan. Thaddeus Sampson will make the presentation.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Thaddeus Sampson, and I serve on council along with Brenda Eckert as stewards of human resources and congregational records. I also am the chair of our strategic planning process. You know, it has been said that if you know where you're going, the probability is greater that you will get there. Hence, our strategic plan. It is the engine that is driving the future of this church. Now, in spite of the hiccups that we have had, primarily due to the pandemic, we have accomplished much, from approving our church as an open and affirming congregation, to significant improvements to the physical structure of our church, and an aggressive and successful continuous capital campaign. Now, although there is still much to be done, and we need your help, I would like to recognize those persons who have and continue to work on aspects of our strategic plan. And when I call your particular group, I would ask that you remain standing until all have been recognized, and then we will applaud as a group. So the first I would like is our steering committee of the strategic planning process to please stand. Secondly, all of those who have chaired a committee, would you please stand? Now, there are chairs here. Helen, you're a chair. Please stand. Tom Miller, you're a chair. Don't you all know you are a chair? They are just being modest, and God bless you for that. Now, would all of you stand who are working in some form on the strategic plan or has worked on the strategic plan? Would you please stand? Now, let's give them an applause. Now, as I said, and we will comment more on this later, we do need more participants on our strategic plan, the action plans, to help us achieve our goals. I would now like to call your attention to the handout that was a part of the agenda. We have two motions that the council has approved, and now we present them to you for approval. The first motion is to approve the extension of the current strategic plan from 2019-2021 to 2019-2022. Do I have a second for that motion? Okay, thank you. The motion has been seconded. The main reason for this, as you probably can imagine, is that most of this past year, some things were not done. If you have been following the quarterly reports, you saw the kinds of things that did occur and some that did not because of the pandemic. And we still met many of the groups by way of Zoom, but still we need more time.
That is your second, please.
It was Ed. Any other questions on that? Seeing no evidence of any, those in favor, let it be known by aye. Aye. Those opposed? Those abstentions? Pardon me, Mr. President.
That's okay. That's fine.
I'm one of these take charge people, so.
You go right ahead. I think everybody acknowledges the vote was taken.
Okay. The second motion is to approve the following Colonial Park United Church, starting over. The motion is to approve the following Colonial Park United Church of Christ Creation Justice Covenant developed by the CPUCC Green Team and approved by Council at its September 2021 meeting. And that covenant is: we recognize and believe in God as a creator of the earth, that humans are interconnected to each other and all of creation on earth, and that when we harm the earth, we dishonor God. As people of faith, we recognize the impact of our actions on our neighbors and on the global community, that environmental justice and social justice are linked, such that environmental degradation, including the crisis of climate change, disproportionately causes suffering to those marginalized without sufficient resources or voice. Consequently, we commit ourselves as faithful stewards of the earth and advocates of social justice, both as individuals and as a congregation, to care for, heal, and restore creation through our actions in collaboration with each other and with those beyond our own community, both faith and secular allies in this effort. May I have a second? A second by Pat Greenwald. Any questions or comments? The authors of the covenant, if you wish to make any comments, please do so at this time. Seeing no evidence from them, any other questions or comments from you?
Okay, well, let's call the question then. All those in favor of the covenant as in our package and as read by Thaddeus, please say aye. 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 Any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion is carried.
Thank you.
I think
Now, briefly, I'd like to call your attention to the second page of the handout that was with your agenda, Roman numerals 3 and 4, noting that we passed our final action plan, the multiracial, multicultural, and that now all of the action plans of our strategic plan have been developed. You heard me mention a few minutes ago that we still need help, especially we need help on our multiracial, multicultural, and immigrant welcoming committee and on our social justice teams. If you wish to participate, and we do hope that you will, I was so happy when I saw the new members because we really have a place for you. If you wish to join the social justice endeavor, please contact Bonnie Cox. If you wish to work with our immigration and refugee issues, please contact Jenny Gassard. And if you forget those names, you can always contact me, and I will direct you to the appropriate place. And finally, Roman numeral 4, I do call your attention to our strategic plan, which is online. If you need a copy of it, contact me. Don't contact Kathy. If you need a copy of the strategic plan, and it's probably a little over 100 pages long, just let me know and I'll get that to you. Otherwise, you can go to our website and find. And I also found something interesting. If you Google my name, you'll come up with it too. So that really made me feel important. It really did. But yeah, and when you look at the strategic plan, if you don't wish to read through it all, look at Appendix L. And Appendix L will tell you all of the particular changes that we have made. And quarterly, the reports from our committees are part of Council's agenda. So that's another way that you can keep up with the day-to-day kinds of things that we're doing on our strategic plan. Again, I thank you very much. For those of you who are working with this process, I invite others of you to become members of it as we go through next year, building our church better, stronger, in our faith to God, in service to community. Any other questions for me? Thank you.
Just one more to add there, Thaddeus. The marketing and social media team can also use helpers. If you are interested in finding out what help is needed even, contact Tom Miller or Bethany Swager. Tom's back there. I don't see Beth. Oh, Bethany's all the way in the back there. Yeah, she's there too. Okay, so. Okay. So anyway, let us continue then. We have a capital campaign update now from Cindy Neck, and I guess Tom, are you going to be joining this? Okay.
First of all, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has already pledged and donated to our Rejoice, Renew, Revive capital campaign. Campaign is going extremely well, and we already have pledges of $471,275 toward our goal of $575,000, coming from 70 individuals or families in the church. You may remember that the original goal that we set was $500,000, but because of the structural problem uncovered during the brick masonry work, we increased our goal to cover that cost. To date, $202,683, or 43% of the pledges have already been given to the church. And thank you to Kathy and Pastor Cindy for sharing some photos of the work so you can see that what's going on. Our outstanding facility team, led by stewards of facility Greg Clark and Tom Fite, has not wasted any time in putting these funds to good use. The first project which received funding was our live streaming equipment, which some of you who are watching from home are aware of. I want to say thank you to Lisa Nybeck, Anna Kaur, and Sean Stauffer for their efforts in researching and purchasing the necessary equipment, as well as operating the system every week. Your faithfulness is greatly appreciated. Thank you. At this time, we've spent about $13,300 on the live streaming equipment, and we're currently evaluating if we have a need to spend more. And now I'm going to ask Tom Fite to come forward to talk to you about the particulars of the other work that's been done so far and is in process with regard to our building.
Okay, good morning. The first project that I'd like to comment on is the masonry work that I'm sure you've seen underway in recent weeks. The brick and masonry work was the most important and first of the building projects to be taken on. That work has been done by Hauk Construction, and it's for the most part totally complete. And it came in or totaled $96,799. That amount includes the repair of the structural problem with the cinder block wall in the second floor classroom. The restoration also required replacement of some of the drywall in that upstairs classroom. GP Harris Drywall just completed this work, and that came in at a cost of $7,896. As part of the classroom wall repair, we also needed to have a structural engineer come in and do a three-part review. This included inspecting the wall before the repairs were done, reviewing the plan for repairs, and then a final inspection of the completed work. The engineering company was Chudney Structural Engineering, and they provided their services at a very reasonable cost of $500. The next project was to complete the replacement of the windows. Weaver Glass is the company that we've been working with so far, and I think you'll agree that the old windows were not very energy efficient. Many of them were broken and or cracked, and others would not open. We've been replacing the windows in phases over about the last 10 years. We had completed 3 of 6 phases before the start of the capital campaign, and with contributions to the campaign, we were able to complete the remaining 3 phases of the windows. The cost for the remaining windows was $49,333. That work has just been completed. However, we do need to mention that there were 3 windows in the old pastor's office which were missed when the work was being planned, so those windows still need to be replaced. We don't have the cost for that just yet. We're waiting on that information. We also are recommending that we move the replacement of the window blinds from year 2 of the capital campaign to move it up to year 1, which should cost about $9,000 or $10,000. That would complete then all of the needed work that's related to the windows. We've also begun the process of replacing our current outdoor signage with a digital sign. Greg Clark has been working with Stoner Graphics on that project. And right now, Stoner is currently working on the design and also the necessary permits. The replacement of the sign is expected to occur next spring, and that is an estimated cost of approximately $35,000 to $40,000, plus the mounting costs for the sign itself. Other first-year projects include hot water heating upgrades that will likely be done by B&W Incorporated. This would involve replacement of the aging water heaters that are located in the kitchen, and also replacement of a circulating pump that's intended to provide faster hot water in the main restrooms near the foyer, as well as those restrooms near the activity room. The estimated costs are $5,327 for the water heaters and $1,920 for the circulating pump. And the last of year 1 projects is to replace the rainwater drain fields in the back of the church. These drain fields are required in order to manage the large volume of rainwater that comes off the roof and move it to get it away from the building. The type of pipe that was originally used for the drain fields was terracotta, and that was the standard at the time. Terracotta pipe has a lifespan of about 60 years, so you can see that it's at its end of life. This type of pipe is somewhat fragile, with many connections that serve as entry points for tree roots, which block the flow of the rainwater and damage and break the pipes themselves. We have a total of 3 drain fields, but only one of them is working, and that explains why there's so much water close to the building. We received one repair estimate of approximately $11,000, but their solution was only a partial solution and is not satisfactory. For this reason, we're waiting for another quote from Howler Enterprises, which is likely to be higher, but that's because their solution would be so much more comprehensive. The current plan is to replace the pipes in the 2 failed drain fields with PVC or corrugated plastic, which would be much more durable and resistant to tree roots. Thank you. Cindy?
Thank you, Tom. As you can tell, your generous donations are being put to very good use in restoring key parts of our beautiful building. Partly because of the structural problem uncovered during the initial work, as well as because of the importance of completing some of these projects, we currently do not have enough cash in hand to cover all the costs of these first-year projects. Therefore, Council has approved the plan of borrowing from ourselves, specifically from the General Endowment Fund, up to $140,000 to cover the total costs of first-year projects. And this money would be paid back as money is contributed to the capital campaign with a 5% interest charge, so we don't lose the money that we would have been earning if we had not borrowed it. It's not definite that we would actually have to borrow the whole $140,000, depending on when contributions are made to the capital campaign, and also when various projects are completed and the bills need to be paid. Our plan is to use these funds like a line of credit, so we would draw them down as need be. If we receive substantial additional contributions in the near future, then the need for borrowing would be reduced or eliminated. It would be wonderful if additional contributions are received between now and the end of December, which is typically a good time to make contributions if you itemize deductions on your tax return. So, 2 good reasons to donate now. So at this time, we're asking for congregational approval to loan ourselves up to $140,000 from the General Endowment Fund at 5% interest to be repaid from contributions to the Rejoice, Renew, Revive capital campaign, and I will make a motion to that effect. We have a second. Thaddeus, thank you. Before we have the question, before we call the question, are there any concerns or questions that anyone has about this plan? And of course, if there are specific building questions, I'm going to just go right back to Tom, because that is not my strong suit. Not seeing any questions, so I think we can call the vote.
Got to bring this back up. Okay. You've heard the motion from Cindy and seconded by Thaddeus. Are all those in favor of that motion, say aye. 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 Any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Well, the motion is carried. Thank you. And our next item on the agenda. Yeah, it will be Cindy again concerning the candidates for council and delegates.
Larry,
Yes?
I'd like to a note of thanks to Cindy Neck for all her hard work on this capital campaign.
Oh, yes.
Making it go as smoothly as it's going, and I'm so glad that we engaged the firm that we did to help us with this. And also thanks to Tom and Greg Clark for all their hours of work in getting estimates and figuring out what needed to be done and everything else. It's been tremendous.
Yes. Okay. And now, it's Cindy Neck again.
This microphone's getting a workout, isn't it, up and down? Good that we have adjustable. Okay, last time you get to hear from me today. So Sharon Clark, thank you to Sharon, is my co-deacon of stewardship, and one of our jobs is to line up candidates for council for the subsequent year. You've received the slate as it stands now. Unfortunately, you'll see that there are still 3 vacancies on there. Despite our best efforts, we have been unable to locate the right people to fill those positions. But I have complete confidence that God knows who those people are. And God just hasn't told me yet. But God is telling those people. So if you are hearing that voice saying, maybe God is asking me to do this job, then please let me know. That being said, I want to thank everyone that has agreed to serve, and there are many people who are continuing on council, and I do thank you for your ongoing dedication. At this time, I will make a motion to approve the slate as currently stands. Is there a second? Tom Washek, thank you. I will just mention, if there are any nominations from the floor, we can accept those now. I'm not going to get too excited about that possibility, but it has been known to happen. Okay, I'm not seeing any, so we have a motion and a second, Mr. President.
Since there are no comments or new nominees, all those in favor of the slate as proposed, say aye. 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 Any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion is carried. And now, what we've all been waiting for, the budget for next year, and Tom Washek will present that.
Good morning. I'm Tom Washek. I'm one of the stewards of finance. I serve along with Barb Kirk and along with 3 other people named Tom on council, which is kind of confusing during a Zoom meeting when someone says Tom. We always wonder who that is. I want to thank everyone who on council who contributed to this campaign. It is a campaign, actually. This project of the 2022 budget. It all began this past summer when a request was sent to each deacon and steward to review the current budget and let me know what plans they had for the coming year, 2022, and how that would fit into the budget. They did respond, and then in September, we had our first go-around with the budget, and we made a few corrections, and again in October, we made our final changes to the budget. And I'd like to go over just some highlights of the 2022 budget. And first of all, on the third page, under finance, you see a large increase in the other finance for 2021. And that is because we're going to rebuild our website, and we're going to hire someone to help us with that and also monitor it and make changes to it throughout the coming year. We want to make it more inviting to people outside of our congregation to try to draw people in. And that was a suggestion that was made by our deacons for evangelism, Tom Miller and Bethany Swigert. Also, there is an additional employee added to the 2022 budget, and that is for an office assistant. That is someone who's going to be working 16 hours a week, 4 days, 4 hours each day, to assist Kathy in her everyday duties, which have grown significantly during her tenure. Also, I want to point out that there is still a budget for the youth leader, and we will continue to try to recruit someone in that capacity. It comes out that it is not an unbalanced budget, but it's because we have a projected surplus of $1.02. And Cindy Garris says that 2 cents is hers. She added it. So, does anybody have any questions before I make a motion to adopt? Seeing none, I move that we approve the 2022 budget as submitted. Second by Jim Richardson. Mr. Chair, Mr. President.
Okay, I just want to repeat, Tom asked if anybody had any questions or comments. If you have any, now is the time. Yes, Thaddeus.
Just a comment to thank Tom Washington and his team, particularly Tom, for an outstanding job and working with the budget. You can imagine at home when you work with our budget and you work with all of us. So he really did an outstanding job.
Okay, anything else? If not, then here we go. All those in favor of approving the budget as proposed, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Or any abstentions? Hearing none, the budget has passed. Need to look at my agenda. That was it. Does anybody have any new business for the congregation? Use the mic.
I would just like to thank our leader, Lawrence Porter, for an outstanding job as our president this year. You know, we're working with COVID, with Zoom, and he really knows his job. So thank you, Lawrence. He's
Thank
coming
you.
back to council, so we will still be working with him. So
Yeah.
let's give him a hand as well.
Thank you. Okay, well, before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I'm just going to put in a little advertisement. The Creche Festival is coming up. If any of you would like to display creches but have not told me yet that you want to, please contact me. My phone number is in our directory, or you can see me right immediately after this meeting, or at any time. But please let me know if you want to, and so we can have a return to some normalcy through all this past mess of COVID. So thank you all very much. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the congregational meeting? That's Ed Flutterjohn. Any second? Oh, there was a bunch. And I can't recognize with masks. Did you get one? Did you get one there? Okay. Okay. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Wonderful. Any abstentions? Okay. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.